Joe Phantomaniacs, welcome to the newest unboxing here on the Needless Things YouTube channel. Today we are looking at Alpine Pine. Yes, you read that correctly. His code name is Alpine. His name is Albert Pine. But very excited. I mean, I'm always excited to open classified figures, but this is Bazooka's pal. Well, not really pal. This is Bazooka's horribly abusive teammate. Really. But that Alpine Bazooka relationship was a critical part of Sunbow for me, so I'm glad to have these two to pair them together. And, you know, maybe in 2024, Albert Pine has learned to be a more compassionate and caring individual. A little art on the side. The more compact boxes I've mentioned before, I think they're great. Fighting off some trouble bubbles. I think he's in significant trouble, by the way, here. Things are not looking good for Alpine, so he better hope that Bazooka has forgiven him and is hanging out up here somewhere and is going to take these guys out. All right. This is part of the newest wave of classified. I will be reviewing the Iron Grenadier and the Iron Grenadier Bat very soon. Storm Shadow, however. And this is, by the way, fresh in from Big Bad Toy Store, who often gets these things significantly earlier than anybody else. But Storm Shadow has not arrived yet. So I'll review him in time, but that's okay because you can only do so many reviews in a week. Pretty decent amount of gear packed in here. He is a classified man. I just realized how nice it is to have this paint on these. And, oh my gosh, these are two separate sculpts. We'll take a closer look at those in a minute. Wow. He is classified up, and that's generally how I prefer my classified figures, as I'm discovering. You know, as we go on and we get more retro card back releases, I don't really know for sure what my sweet spot is going to be with any given character until I have them in hand and I really see up close and personal changes that were made and how I feel about them, and then other things that are maybe too close to the original. Because I'll tell you right now, some of the retro card back figures, the translation isn't working as well. A lot of it has to do with scaling. In some cases, those more saturated colors from the original line that I thought I wanted may not really be exactly what I wanted. Because at a larger scale, I'm trying to get his belt more where I think it should be seated. In some cases, those bright colors at a larger scale just hasn't ended up looking great, in my opinion. And you can check out my reviews of the retro card back figures to see which ones I'm talking about. I love this shirt, by the way. That's such a nice little added detail. Because as you can see on the original figure, he's got that undershirt on. Oh, we're losing things. It was bound to happen. He's got that undershirt on. There's a lot to talk about here. All right, had to take a little break there. My phone literally just ran out of memory. But we're back. Everything's cleaned up. Files have been moved. We're in good shape. Taking a look at Alpine. Let's zoom back in here. So I was talking about his shirt. I really like this detail. I think it's pretty great. That portrait. I read on, I think it was on His Tank, somebody talking about his head being too wide. But people have wide heads. I don't. Speaking as someone uh, who cannot find glasses that are wide enough for my wide head, I'm glad to have wide head representation in the line. I think it's a pretty nice portrait. Haircut looks great. Love all the painted detail on the jacket, the padding, the sculpt of that. Just everything in here looks really, really good. Then on the forearms, we've got that same design that we've got on the original figure. Kind of hanging down over the wrists there a little bit, which is interesting because that's going to limit the movement of those wrist joints just a tad. We've got up and down pivots. Oh, wait, do we? Okay, so right hand has an up and down pivot, left hand has a side to side. Plastic feels really good. Joints are mobile, mostly mobile. There's always something, isn't there? All right. So I am not a mountain climber, nor will I ever be. This looks cool to me, all these carabiners. I don't know if this is a thing that they do or that is accurate or whatever, but it just looks cool. It's a cool detail on the figure. And I like that he's just got his climbing gear here, this harness, which I'm sure has a very specific name that I'm not aware of. And then they left off any kind of like thigh gimmicks or anything. Now, not one, I guess a couple of things that I think would have been really helpful. Oh man, those lower knees aren't going to. There we go. I think both of his accessories. Yeah, I'm going to force it. There we go. Both of his. Oh, we get a little flash there on the knee. Both his accessories should have had straps, I think. Because how is he carrying these things around? Now, granted, this is the Alley Viper grappling hook. Uh-oh. Oh, there we go. That you can attach line to if you want to, which is nice. Get that orange on there. It's a nice touch. But I really feel like both of these should have had shoulder straps on them. I'm fine with that. Let's see, the original. So, oh man, mine. I just realized mine's broken. There, now it's not anymore. Haha, kidding. All right. So, this clearly does not look as cool as this. I understand parts reuse, but man, this is a much cooler grappling gun. See, we're talking about grappling, so I can say the G word, maybe. I don't know. Probably not. Grappling blaster. As I've said many times before, I don't need everything to be exactly like the original toy. And this is fine, but it's not as cool. And then this, I don't love. I am okay with the green. Again, I like a little color detail on these, and for it to be the magazine and the stock, I think that looks fine. But I don't know. I maybe would have liked something a little closer to this original smaller blaster. We've got an Ain. Sorry, it's been a long day. This is that little break in the video. 6 hours passed. There, I've had to do so much other stuff, not just with the phone, but with everything else. I want to see how much line we've got to play with here. Okay, so that needs to pull through there. There we go. So we've got an actual grappling hook with probably not more than 8 inches of line. I might have about 10 inches here. Now I'm just curious to see. It doesn't really matter too much. About almost 11 inches of line. That's not terrible. Sure, 2 feet would be great, but you can put your own on here. And of course, he's got the loop on his harness. You can run this through there if you so desire. Maybe. Oh, this should not be this difficult, especially with that curve in the end of the line. There we go. So we've got a little climbing business going on there. He's got the rope, which I pulled off to get a look at the shirt. And I just realized it was not on him this way, but I guess it doesn't matter which way it goes on him. This is how the original figure was, but I don't care either way. Since I put it on like this, I'll leave it on like this. He's got his hat, which fits very nicely on that head. Look at this. Oh, I love a good hat fit. Although I do kind of wish they'd gone with the brown like the original one to have a little more contrast across the figure. But also, it's fine. It doesn't matter. And then he's got his goggles. His goggles / glasses. I don't know why, but for some reason I've always thought of Alpine as having prescription goggles. I don't know how far down those need to go. We'll find out. Yeah, that looks great. I like it. And then, as we mentioned, now I know these things have a name, and it's not just like climbing hooks or whatever, but they look cool. They've got paint on them. I like the orange handles, and the fact that there are 2 separate sculpts is wild to me. That they went to the effort of putting this wrapping on this one is just a great touch. And those, I'm kind of curious about. Notice this little clamp right here. I was wondering if they could just sort of hang, but I don't think that's going to be the case. But they do store in these loops back here. And I don't know how realistic or reasonable that is, but at least there is a spot to store these things when he's not actively climbing. And I mean, I guess looking at, you know what else he doesn't have? He doesn't have the, well, he's got a grappling hook. Oh, he doesn't have a backpack. But that's okay, because just so happens I've got my extra Dusty, my Ollie's Dusty that I keep over here. And of course, Ollie's Dusty came with a backpack that is not terribly dissimilar from Alpine's. Color-wise, I think it matches pretty nicely. And if we move that rope around a little bit, give this guy a pretty... Oh, look, it even kind of contours to his back a little better than a lot of the classified backpacks do. So I think I'm going to go with that look. Not too bad, huh? So there he is, G.I. Joe Classified Series Alpine. I know the review got disrupted, so there may be a couple of things I wasn't as thorough about. But overall, I'm pretty happy with him. As always, there are a couple of nitpicks. Shoulder straps, I really do think, are necessities for these, and they don't have them. The grappling hook, not quite as exciting as the double-ended one that the original figure came with. But at the end of the day, this is a good Alpine, and I'm thrilled to have him put him on the shelf, or maybe hanging from the side of the shelf next to Bazooka. Because when you have the option of doing something other than just standing a classified figure on the shelf, well, that's a way to take up less shelf space in your collection. So I'm probably going to have him rappelling off the side of the shelves or something interesting like that. We'll see. But thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends about Needless Things. And until next time, yo, Joe.
Smash that like button if you like Needless Things.